What up, YouTube? This is Insane Monster, and we are doing the beginning part of What If Asta Was Trained by Zoro. Now, for this, we gotta start off in the One Piece world, and Zoro and the rest of his crew achieved their goals. Luffy became the Pirate King, Zoro defeated Mihawk and became the world's strongest swordsman. Sanji found Old Blue. Everything was complete. And so, as the years go by, Zoro gets pretty old and even a gray beard. While he was wandering, he got himself lost again. But this time he got himself so unbelievably lost that he ended up in the Black Clover world. And it isn't that impossible considering that it's already been confirmed that time travel is a thing in One Piece, so dimension hopping probably isn't too far-fetched. So there's that. Now we just have Old Man Zoro stuck in the Clover Kingdom not knowing where he is. He's basically retired and all that, though he still ended up having people challenge him when he was back home and all that. As he begins to walk, he sees a drunk messing with some kids, and it looked like he stole a pendant from one of them. And the shorter kid with the I guess you'd call it grayish hair kept struggling more and more to try to get his friend's pendant back. Zoro saw this and just started walking. When he got behind the man, when he was pulling out his grimoire to attack, Zoro just smacked him in the back of the head to knock him out. After that, he grabbed Yuno's pendant and gave it back to him. Then picked up Asta, telling Yuno to lead the way and that he'll escort him home. He then began to ask Yuno some things about Asta and about where he is. He learned some minor details, like magic exists here, and he is the only one that they know about that doesn't have it. He thinks this kid was outmatched like that against a full-grown adult with this magic, and he has nothing to fight against that, and he still kept going on and on, struggling to get his friend's pendant back. I like this kid. Perhaps I should teach him. Once they get back to the church, Sister Lee patches up Asta, and the priest thanks Zoro, allowing him to sleep in the church for tonight. After Asta's recovered, Zoro grabs Asta and says, "Kid, I'm going to be training you now." Asta yells, "What? Wait, what training are we doing?" "You'll see when we get there." The priest tried to ask, "Wait, what are you doing?" He just said, "Didn't you just hear me? I'm going to train him. I'll bring him back." Yuno hurried up and went after them. The priest severely doubted that this Zoro old man guy would bring Asta all the way here after he got hurt just to take him away permanently. So he decided to have good faith in the person who saved Yuno and Asta. Once they got further enough into some woods, with Yuno being exhausted, Zoro put down Asta and said that he was going to train him in three-sword style. Asta was like, but you only have two hands. Zoro smirked, saying yes, and see what happens what I can do with one hand and a single sword. Pulling one of his swords out and swinging it down, he sliced through multiple trees and boulders like it was nothing. Asta was shocked by this and decided wanting, saying, "Wait, you brought me here to learn that kind of stuff?" He was so pumped. But asked, "But Asta doesn't have magic." Zoro turned around and said, "Well, yeah, this isn't magic." They were surprised by that, and Asta was even more pumped that since it isn't magic, he could definitely learn it, and that he wouldn't stop until he did. Zoro smirked, and being glad to hear it, but Asta was still asking, why is it the three sword style? Zoro takes out all three of his swords, putting one in each of his hands and one in his mouth. Then does the dragon twister, the Tatsumaki, I believe the anime name is, creating a wind dragon just tears, rips, and slices the trees in a large area, turning them into frickin' mincemeat. They were shocked and very impressed by this. As for any of you who are listening that thinking that Asta being trained in this trained like this to have this power might be a bit too OP, but you have to figure the kind of people that he'll go up against in the future. For reference, Licht or Patri, who was using the name Licht, used a spell that simultaneously attacked every individual human in the Clover Kingdom, and that was just wide scale attack. And then second is Julius Novus Chronos, who used the spell over the entire Clover Kingdom to stop that attack from killing all the Clover Kingdom citizens. So you have to keep that kind of thing in mind. Now, Yuno decides to join in, although reluctantly, with Zoro dragging him into training since all he did was just sit there and watch and it was getting on his nerves. They, trained a bit, though his body wasn't really good, wasn't really built, or isn't capable of handling three sword style or anything. So he decided that maybe hockey would be best. As they got older, he gradually taught them some things he learned as he grew older. For instance, he learned some of the six powers. Not only two of them, though. And he taught them to Asta and Yuno. One would be the skywalk, where they just push off and are able to literally walk on air. The second is Tempest Kick. Zoro said it isn't something that he likes to use, but if he doesn't have a sword on him, it comes in handy. But Asta's just pumped. They begin to learn more about the different forms of hockey, though they're not sure if they have Conqueror's hockey or not. But in terms of armament and optical hockey, they both do end up learning it, though Yuno seems to be better with optical hockey, while Asta is better with armament. Then does get a stronger body, and instead of using using a sword like a normal sword in training, he uses wind slashes as a substitute using his magic. Zoro was fine with that since it seemed like something he was more comfortable with. As for Asta, training with wooden practice katanas, he does get pretty strong and does pretty well. As time goes on, they do get some good, pretty decent results. Once it was time for them to go get their grimoires, Zoro gifted something to Asta since it seemed like uh, Yuno wasn't really one to use a sword or whatever. So he took the cursed sword as well as a sword that he got from Wano, trading it with the Dragon Slayer sword he got from the zombie from Thriller Bark. He gave them to Asta, also giving him a warning about the cursed sword. Asta remembered the story that he told about the swords, how he got them and all that, and decides to do the same crazy thing that Zoro did when he got that cursed sword. Tossing it up in the air, letting the blade swing, he stuck his arm out. Zoro smirked a little bit, with, panicking, but Zoro stopping him before he was able to use his wind magic to stop the sword. But luckily for Asta, it went right around his arm, not even putting a scratch on it. Zoro said, "Huh, looks like you got the same good luck as me, kid. Good for you." Asta bowed, thanking his teacher, though Yuno asked why is he only giving him two swords. Zoro pushed his hand on the last sword, stating that it was something that he got from from an old friend of his, one that he made a vow to that he did end up keeping. "You can have this once I pass on, though I doubt that will be anytime soon." Asa remarked, "Well, yeah, I would expect nothing less from you, master." As they head off to go to the grimoire ceremony, the same thing happens where Asa doesn't get a grimoire, though he doesn't really care. Training with Zoro made Asta not really care about things just getting him down. He was still determined and said that no matter what, he's going to be the Wizard King. As he walked out and went to go do some training. Zoro saw everything, and decided to just give him some space, but kept an eye on him. The nobles still attacked Yuno, and he dealt with them. As for the chain mage, due to having optical hockey in this one, he is able to maneuver around the chains to avoid them, which the chain mage is impressed, but then just makes more and more and more. Though he has gotten a stronger body and such, he still relies mostly on his magic and optical hockey more than anything, causing and with the inexperience in actual battle, he is still unfortunately captured by the chain mage. Though this is when Asta comes in and pulls out his sword, yelling at the chain mage to let go. The chain mage attacks him, but Asta coats his sword in hockey and slices the chains up. The chain mage is freaking out. He says, "What is that power?" It's not magic. If it was, then whatever you did to coat your sword, I would have sensed it with my chains, but there was nothing. What even are you? He tried to attack again, but Asta used a tempest kick to destroy the chains, forcing the chain mates to duck to get way. The chainmates figured he'd have to overwhelm him with tons of chains. But while he was building up all those chains, the five-leaf clover grimoire burst from the wall of the grimoire tower. As it floated towards Asta, it released the anti-magic sword, the Demon Slayer sword. Once Asta saw it, he knew that this was his grimoire. He took one of his swords and placed it in his mouth. And then he gripped the anti-magic sword, preparing for the attack that his master taught him. The chainmaid said, "So what if you have another sword? It doesn't make a difference. I'm going to destroy you." Firing all of his chains, Asta goes in and uses Onigiri, slicing the chainmaid, making 3 cuts on his chest, forcing him to pass out. As for the chains, they were demolished. The ones that were cut by the katana swords were sliced to bits, but the ones that were touched by the anti-magic sword were destroyed completely. After that, Yuno and Asta still have that little fist bump moment where they say that they're going to see who becomes the Wizard King. After that, the Chainmaid gets hauled in while Zoro congratulates him on winning, with Asta saying, "You were watching the whole time. Why didn't you help?" Zoro just says, "It isn't my place to step into your battles, now is it?" Which just annoys Yuno and Asta a little bit. He still scolds them a little bit for Yuno for not being relying more on not relying on all of his skills and only some of them in a fight, given how inexperienced he is. And Asta for just being a knucklehead and going off and screaming like a madman. Though during the time that they spent training, Asta still meets up with that diamond mage and gets some pointers on what it comes to when in terms of a magic sword wielder instead of a sword wielder like Zoro. So he gets some useful information, though he's the diamond mage, I think his name is Zess, I think, but he is amazed by Asta's swordsmanship and completely shocked that he doesn't even use any magic for it. Though the fight goes a little easier when the diamond assassins come for him, but it still goes somewhat the same, though the diamond mages get a bit of a beatdown. A good beatdown. We keep going until we reach the part where Yuno and Asta are leaving for the Magic Night exam. Though they figured that they should probably get there fast and decide to use it as an opportunity for a race. Some parts they use their skywalk to get across places a lot easier and faster, as well as doing some training here and there, killing some boars and such. As for what Zoro's been doing for the village and all that, as all of this has been going on, he's more or less been hunting for the village, killing wild animals and especially dangerous ones to bring them back and cook for the village. Now that his students are gone, he can just relax, hunt some animals, and enjoy himself, while also training because he's stubborn. As for his three sword style, he substitutes the two swords he gave Asta with some wooden uh, practice swords. So for him, they're really extremely dangerous, even if they're just wooden swords. And this is where we'll be ending this part of the what if. Uh, this was part one of what if Asta was strained by Zoro. Hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Uh, and that's be all. Uh, See you later, guys.